Hello and welcome back to Simon's Rants. I'm Simon, this is Eric, and we just saw the Peanut Butter Falcon, which, in case you don't know, it's actually about a week old, but it took a while for it to get over here. But it's an indie film starring Shia LaBeouf and some other people. I don't know the names of anybody other than the other kid's name is Zach, because it's his actual real name. But so there's an autistic 22-year-old young adult who escapes from where he's being held, which is like an old folks home. He escapes because he has the vision of becoming a pro wrestler. So he meets up with Shia LaBeouf, who's on the run, and then they're kind of on the run together. And it's kind of like a buddy film. And so yeah, we just saw it, and I liked it. I thought it was good.
It was very good. I'm not usually a feel-good movie guy. It's not usually my style, but this was awesome. I was entertained the whole time.
My initial reaction is I'm leaning towards probably around a 7.5.
Yeah.
If that feels about right to you.
Yeah.
Shia LaBeouf, I am a huge fan of. I say that every opportunity I get. I think he's a great actor. I thought Zach did really well in this. And then the main girl, I don't remember or know her name.
I don't know anybody's name.
All I know is that she was in 50 Shades of Grey, and so her resume is that's sparkling. But it's funny because, side note, she's in 50 Shades of Grey because the main character in 50 Shades of Grey is supposed to be plain and unassuming, and then in this they treat her like she is the hottest woman ever, and she's not either. She is right in the middle of those two descriptions.
Well, I took it as like they're like deep south in the sticks. That like she's hot for that area.
And she's clean.
Yeah, she's clean. She's not.
Don't be offended if you're from that area and you subscribe for whatever reason. All three of them were very good. Thomas Hayden Church plays the pro wrestler that they're trying to go meet, and he's also good. Bruce Dern.
Yeah, he was funny.
He's good in it. John Bernthal has a tiny part in it. As well, and so they're obviously good, but really none of them really do much at all. The rest of the cast is mediocre to horrible.
Yeah.
Whether it be Yellow Wolf or some old fat guy. It's painful.
Yeah.
Like, it was so amazing. And that, unfortunately, is what you do get with indie films sometimes. I love indie films because they're so much more original. They're so much freer. Like, they're able to do so much more than big Hollywood movies do. But the pain of that is you do have these great actors often in a one-on-one scene with somebody who's horrible. And that happened early in this film. Shia LaBeouf is getting in trouble with his boss, and there's this conversation back and forth where he's getting yelled at by his boss, and he's reacting, and he's like tearing up, and he's like frustrated, and he's doing all of these facial reactions to this guy going, "Hey, you can't do that. You need to get out and leave right now. Yeah, I said it. Get out now." And Shia was like, "Oh man, I'm like, that's so unbalanced."
I think that was his reaction to his acting.
It's just like, oh
yeah, and then he had that really southern drawl that I barely understood him.
The writing was very uneven as well.
Yes.
And so when the acting was good, it was fine. You could get over the writing, but if the acting was meh to bad, the writing really stood out as sloppy.
Yeah.
And really, what's the word? When, like, it's just, you explain the plot. You're, like, explaining the plot too much.
What is that word? Expedition? No, not expedition.
You're close.
It's X something.
Exploitation. No. Close as well.
Don't edit this.
They just explained so much of the plot through just really simple, straightforward dialogue. It's, you know, the type of stuff like, yeah, you know how this isn't from the movie, so I'm not spoiling anything, but it's like, yeah, you know, we've always been sad ever since our dad died in the war 5 years ago. Dialogue like that. And you're like, nobody talks like that in real life. You don't. The only reason they're saying that is so that you know what's happening with these characters and you know who they are. And when it's Zach's character, it makes a little more sense because he is just so no filter. He just says whatever he thinks. But everybody else isn't going to be talking like that. No, Shia LaBeouf's not going to be talking like that. He didn't really, but he kind of did. And then What's-Her-Face talked like that several times, or she's on the phone going, "You're going to do what? You're gonna do this, this, and this? I don't know how I feel about that." And you're like, that's bad.
Yeah, show don't tell. Shia LaBeouf was so good in this movie.
Yeah.
He made the bad actors look even worse. Like
Yeah.
way worse. And the kid with the autism, I don't know his name. I've never
Zach.
seen him. Zach. Yeah, he was fantastic.
He was great.
Yeah, he
and
was
so.
awesome.
And so it sounds like we're kind of crapping on this movie a lot from the
Yeah.
get-go, but it's because the movie itself would not have been good if Zach and Shia LaBeouf were not in it. But because they were in it, they were so good. It covered up so much hurt. It covered over so much.
Chemistry was awesome.
It was great.
Yeah.
Every little dialogue. And it was believable too. Like, it's not like Shia LaBeouf is just like, here, let me help out this kid, and we'll be happily skipping across the South. No, it was like he resented him for a while, but he's like one of those lines that was giving away too much. In the beginning was he was talking about like, you know what you should do? You should do a really good deed. That would make your brother, who's dead, watching from heaven, real happy. And you're like, okay, thank you for that. And then, of course, when your cast involves rappers, you know it's not good acting.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to Yellow Wolf and MGK doing a movie together.
Oh, well, Yellow Wolf's acting was better than MGK's. I'll give him that. He did less than MGK in Bird Box, but he was better.
Yeah, MGK is too tall for anything. He just looks awkward.
Well, Yellow Wolf is awkwardly tall too, isn't he?
I don't know what Yellow Wolf could do because he's so covered in tattoos.
That's all he can do is
he
play a
fits that
gangster
role
from the
'cause-
South.
yeah,
That's all he can
yeah.
do. Yeah, so like uneven, but wholesome.
Yes.
And rewarding and just enjoyable. Like,
yeah.
You'll just have a good time.
Yeah, it's a feel-good movie, and that's what it makes you feel.
Right.
You feel good watching this movie, especially
Right.
the way they handle his autism. Like,
Right.
I thought they
Respectful.
Yes, very respectful. Like, they didn't make him seem small or anything. Like, when he was being insulted by people, he stood up for himself, and
Right.
and if he needed the encouragement, then not Yellow Wolf. Shia LaBeouf was there to.
Shia LaBeouf.
Shia yeah.
Swole.
Yeah.
Not only was it respectful, but I was glad at how they had it set a few years in the past. I'm not sure exactly when.
Yeah.
Early to mid 2000s, people have flip phones. Gas is only $1.
Whatever
It's
gas is
19.
$1.19. I think I was in high school for that.
I don't even remember that. So you've got a lot of people who don't understand how autism works. And then Shia LaBeouf, who is the least educated, least qualified person, comes along and goes, treat this guy like a human being, for God's sake.
Don't treat him different, and he'll...
And it was great because that essentially is how we have learned. Ironically, it took us so long to learn. Autistic people should be treated like people.
Yeah.
Duh.
It'll make them feel
They're
better
just
about
people,
themselves.
yeah.
They have emotions. They go through the same stuff we do, if not worse things they're dealing with.
They're able to develop so much more than we give them credit for so often, and we just go, oh, you've got a disability, let me coddle you, let me do everything for you, and that makes it worse for them, just like it would with anybody. If you coddle anybody, you're stunting their growth. And so you saw it in a couple different scenes where the person who's supposed to be taking care of him is trying to do too much. Like, she's like putting on his shirt for him, telling him what he can and can't do, and Shia LaBeouf is like, stop. You're treating him, and I'm quoting, so don't get mad at me, he's like, you're treating him like a retard. And what he meant by that was, retard doesn't equal autism. Retard is saying to somebody that you can't do something, that you're not good enough to do something. Somebody with autism is just different. It was done with a lot of respect. It was done gracefully. It was done very lighthearted as well. Like, they understood the weight of the situation, but they were able to make light of it at the same time, and so it was very enjoyable while not losing any quality in the same time. So leaning somewhere around a 7.5. That's my first thought of it anyway, because I mean, it might change on further viewings, but right now Shia LaBeouf and Zach were great, but they made the movie. You know, they are the sole reason this movie is great. Very cheesy, very heavy-handed at times. It was weird that, like, there was several shots where you could tell that the directors wanted to be artistic and then got scared and cut away too soon, where you'd have like this long shot of people walking through an area and then you'd cut halfway or do a quick zoom halfway, and it's like, Maybe it was directed by two people. Maybe one would like to be artistic and the other didn't.
I didn't know they was directed by two people. That's
I don't get it, because like they obviously knew what they were doing from an artistic standpoint, but it was like they were scared to follow through or something. I'm not sure why.
yeah.
But a lot of this movie just felt like rookie mistakes.
Yeah.
But saved by just great performances.
Yeah, absolutely. They carried the movie. Shia LaBeouf and Zachary.
There was this one shot in particular where they're standing there on their little raft, and Zach is supposed to be talking, and you can see his mouth moving, and he's saying a full sentence, but it is a completely different sentence than what you hear. And throughout the rest of the movie, there's other people doing one or two words. Like early on, when Shia LaBeouf and Zach are first meeting up, you see this shot where they're walking together, and then Shia LaBeouf turns around, and I forget what he says, but he says something kind of loud, and it repeats himself, and it's like the first one was dubbed over, and you could tell the first one was like something was off about it. Like it sounded like it was recorded at a different place, and it just didn't match up with his voice. So it was definitely sloppy at times like that. But obviously we're critiquing it, but we keep coming back to Shia LaBeouf and
he was phenomenal.
Zach.
Absolutely made the movie. Like, all the faults were ripping into it. They absolutely made it. They made it entertaining. I mean, there's literally a feel-good movie, but that's what you feel. Like, you're literally, like, you're smiling. You're like, oh, this is awesome. The way he treats them. You get the sense that, the one scene, they're, like, tapping each other on the face.
Yeah.
You get the sense that might have been even a little improvised a little bit. Like, they were just, Shia LaBeouf was messing around with them, and they went with it. And
fun.
Yeah.
And it's not like, okay, it's not going to win Best Director. It's not going to win Best Script. It's not going to win anything like that. But it's not going to disappoint, I think, anybody coming out this movie. I think everybody's going to enjoy it.
I think it'd be cold-hearted to not go into
you
this
have
movie
to be like,
and,
I hate everything, and I dislike this movie. I can almost guarantee right now it's going to be in my top 10 for the end of the year.
Yeah. Peanut butter Falcon.
Right now. So yeah, that's what we thought. We're gonna move on to the spoilers now. So if you want to hang around for that, then just hang on. But if you're leaving now, thanks for watching, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe. It does help out a lot. Thanks. Bye. So spoilers.
They all die.
No,
not at all.
Nobody dies. Even though you think for a second, is Shia LaBeouf gonna die? And then you're like, there's no way. Somebody described the movie as the feel-good movie of the decade, and I was like, Shia LaBeouf is not dying in the feel-good movie of the decade.
They're not going to end it with him getting hit over the head with a crowbar and just dying.
Right. I don't know if there's really any spoilers to talk about. Everything you kind of pick up from the trailer is what happens. Shia LaBeouf and Zach are on two different journeys. They happen to cross paths, team up, become bro dudes or whatever they say, and then start their journey, and then eventually the girl comes along and then is kind of forced to join them because she loses her car keys, and then they're together. You
did have to do the typical. Shia LaBeouf was resisting at first.
Right,
He wanted nothing to do with them, because we were commenting like they were walking together through the cornfields without any shoes.
Right.
And
when he obviously
had shoes on the back. He's like, just give him his shoes. And but then once he gave him, you kind of realize like it's because they were just trying to show that he didn't want anything to do with them.
Right.
And then finally it was him accepting them and saying, "All right, you're coming with me."
I like that character development because it was one of the few times in the movie where it was show don't tell.
Yes.
In this movie that is predominantly tell don't show.
Yeah.
So that was refreshing. I think that anytime they did visuals like that, it was really good. Like there was another small thing where Shia LaBeouf was in the hospital because he got hit in the head by a crowbar and he think he might be dead. And there was this nice little shot of Zach sitting with a little cupcake with 3 candles in it. And he had previously in this movie promised Shia LaBeouf to give him the wishes.
Right.
And now Shia LaBeouf wasn't there to take the wishes. And that little moment is so pure and so wholesome and so sad that I'm glad he wasn't sitting there. And then the girl comes in and goes, "Why don't you blow out your wishes?" And he goes, "I promised my wishes to him." Like, I'm glad that nobody said anything you just saw it.
You could see that coming with some of the way some of the other things were explained.
Right, like you could have easily overdone that and made it cheesy and annoying, but just having him sit there holding it was so much better than having any dialogue at all. There's no way dialogue would have improved that scene.
No, the silence is what
made it.
Yeah.
I guess the only big plot twist of this movie is that Thomas Hayden Church plays this pro wrestler that they going on this whole journey to meet, and then they do meet him, and he's been retired for 10 years.
Yeah.
Because he just has old VHS tapes that he watches over and over and over again. I was glad how they portrayed him, though, because you're first seeing him, and you don't know if he's going to be a scumbag or if he's going to be a good guy. I kind of was hoping that they would do what they did, which was like, all right, we're going to have a boot camp, but you don't know that at first.
Yeah, he seems like he didn't want anything to do with it. And he's like,
right,
I'm retired,
like,
kid. Like, I'm
shocked,
done.
like, why are you here?
Yeah.
And then he's like, he's a fan. And he's like, really? Hi. He's just kind of confused, but then he does a little training camp, and he drives up doing all of these spins and stuff in his Mustang or whatever it was, and it's awesome. It was just a lot of fun. Like, there's no point in this movie that I was like, this isn't a fun movie. It never dragged on at any moment. Never took a turn that I went, why did they do that? Yeah. Never did any of that.
When he throws Jake the Snake Roberts out of the ring,
right,
flying so far, it was special
great.
Effects of him holding him up, whatever I guess CGI or whatever.
Yeah, I think he was holding up a green screen dummy.
Yeah,
and then they just
him on it.
But it was hilarious, and I loved it. And that whole thing, even though you knew it was going that direction from the beginning, once they say, "Oh, you can't do that move; it's impossible," you go, "Oh, so he's gonna do the move."
Yeah.
But like, when they did it, you're like, "This is fun. This is just funny.
Yeah,
it's enjoyable. It's goofy." And
Sam, you're not coming to my birthday party.
Yeah. Callbacks are such a dangerous thing to do in movies, because they are one of the easiest forms of jokes to do. You go like, hey, remember, blamity shamity, and then you walk out the door and somebody goes, blamity shamity, and then an hour later in the film, blamity shamity, and everybody's like, yeah, I remember when you said that before. And it's like, it's not funny 90% of the time because it's so lazy, because it's so easy. Or like, Captain Jack Sparrow. That was funny the first time, then you did it another time and another time. It's not funny anymore. Yeah. This one, that worked seamlessly into the script, where this guy, that to him was the biggest honor he could come up with, was to invite somebody to his birthday party. He was like, until he came up with giving somebody his wishes, that was even bigger. But like, everybody he liked was invited to his birthday party. He said it when the old guy helped him escape. He said it to Shia LaBeouf somewhere early on when they first met. Yeah. And then when he's wrestling this guy and he starts beating him up, Thomas Hayden Church tells him, say the most evil, vile, mean thing that comes to your head. And the only thing that he can come up with is, you're not invited to my birthday party. And it's great.
Yeah. You got any money? I don't got pockets.
I don't have any money. I don't have any pockets. That is the one thing I'll say, is the writing for its quirks and not being very good. The humor was well written.
Yeah.
And I'm sure part of that was the delivery, but you could tell these jokes were also just well written most of the time.
Yeah, Zach delivered them pretty damn well, man. He was really funny. Really funny.
No, he was very good. Very good. Yeah. Certainly held his own in every way.
Yeah, absolutely did.
Better than the boss, the old guy. You have to leave. Didn't you hear what I said? Leave. Don't finish it. Get out. That was such bad acting. I don't understand how you can be that bad at acting. I do not genuinely understand it.
Get jobs as acting. Like, I can understand how, like, if I was making a film in my backyard, the acting would be that bad. But if you're in a film that's getting released in movie theaters, you gotta.
I don't know. I grew up making films with my friends. And only a couple of them were that bad.
One of them grew up to be that guy.
If you like the trailer, go see it, because it's as good as the trailer made it look. And if you didn't see the trailer yet, I don't know what you're doing. We're already a week behind on this anyway. Yeah. I'm sorry. Took a while to get here. So, yeah, you should just go see it. We enjoyed it a lot. Like I said, 7.5. Shia LaBeouf and Zach. Yeah. Great. Just grade A. Bye.
Bye.